Can I carry anything for you?
I'm probably fine. It's not that much stuff. I'll still be reachable.
Okay.
Yeah, don't worry.
Do you have your charger?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, all right.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, our west coast became a potential combat zone. Living in that zone.
So, Mom, have you ever been to Idaho?
No, I don't think so.
So you've never gone on the pilgrimage, right?
No, I haven't.
I guess out of our family, not a lot of the relatives have gone on the pilgrimages before. What do you remember from Grandpa Joe or Bachan? Like, did they ever say anything?
I don't remember talking with my dad about it at all. Mom, she said something like, if you had been locked up, would you want to talk about it?
I know the ACLU is going to challenge it, but I think it'll pass, and we've done it with Iran back a while ago. We did it during World War II with Japanese, which, you know, call it what you will, maybe wrong.
You're not proposing we go back to the days of internment camps, I hope.
The Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, and all of that was going on. There's no time to ask questions and find out who's a citizen and who's not.
Friday, Mr. Trump signed a sweeping order barring people from 7 predominantly Muslim nations from entering the U.S. for 3 months. Libya, Sudan, Somalia, Yemen, Syria, Iraq, and Iran.
All right.
525.
Remember and to commemorate the 75th anniversary of that sad historical event. Americans of Japanese ancestry are told that they are, quote unquote, dangerous for the defense of the nation from the military strategic standpoint. There's another reason why this commemoration of the forced removal, segregation, and imprisonment of Japanese Americans resonates today. Behind the rhetoric about Muslim bans and the deportation of undocumented immigrants, we recognize the all too familiar ugly echoes of what was said about us.
Here. Mikhail Kasumi. Here. Joseph Lockman.
Here.
Gordon Lee.
Here.
At the end of the day, when you come back to Seattle, what do you hope to get out of this?
Most of the concentration camp, isn't there anymore. So, actually seeing the site make it feel, real to myself. You can read about it and write about it as much as you want, but it's just different when you actually go out there. That's the thing that you can't get anywhere else, right?
My name is Sam Shoji. I'm 56 years old, and I spent 13 months in Puyallup and Minidoka.
So much of our family's story is preserved in that testimony.
The feeling of being pointed out as an enemy during a crucial period of my life and without a chance to defend myself caused many psychological wounds from which I feel I have never recovered.
Uncle Sam says it was this tragedy of crushing the emotional spirit of individuals as a result of confining innocent people in concentration camps.
In sort of hushed tones, my uncles and aunts, they called it camp.
But she didn't really talk to you about it, right?
Well, one thing she did mention is that she didn't want us to be bitter. We just didn't get the details.
Never really had the, I guess, a time where it felt really appropriate to talk about it.
So I think it's your generation that are the ones that are going to carry this forward.
So now as we're driving through towards the site, if we're on the bus in 1942, all you would see around out the windows is sagebrush. There was no population, there was no town of Hunt. The Idaho governor said the only way that there would be any Japanese in my state is if they're behind barbed wire. And then the Wyoming governor said that Japs will be hanging from every tree. So because of that sentiment, the only solution the government felt was then to incarcerate them.
Thank you. See you later.
Sunscreen, picture. Sunscreen. They still have that legacy.
Yeah, in fact, this area before we came, even by the white farmers, this was known as the armpit of Idaho. So, in other words, they always picked the worst places for us to put our people in every state. Well, this was the worst spot.
My younger sister Florence was 13 years old at that time. Due to an early infant illness, she was paralyzed on the right side and was severely mentally handicapped. It had taken her years before she could learn to stand. The imprisonment ruined all this progress for her, for she had to be confined to one portion of our room in this shack that we had now called our home. She regressed and began having grand mal seizures and finally had to be admitted to the Idaho State Hospital where she died. I feel that the imprisonment and the suffering that she had to endure shortened her life considerably. It is these kind of situations and damages that need to be addressed along with the other effects of the evacuation.
Take it right. Go up there, take it right.
Some of the family's missing. Yeah, so that's my great-grandpa, great-grandma, and that's Joseph Shoji. I'm named after him.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And then skip this line. Then this one, Sam Shoji. So that's Uncle Sam.
Yeah.
From who did Redress. There they are. They're in here. I gotta get a picture of this too, because I gotta show my family. Because it also has like their cell block.
For relocation, but they didn't really give any support after camp. When you left, you got $25 cash and a bus ticket. That's all the WRA provided you.
you come here, sights, sounds, it triggers those memories. People start to open up. That's when you start to understand not just your own family's trials and ordeals, but how many different individual stories there are. You start to realize how powerful every one of those 120,000 voices are. People at the pilgrimage weren't just talking about it in terms of something that happened in the past that they don't want people to forget, but also, you know, why this matters so much for today and going into the future. When we fight against these things that we consider unconstitutional, that's not an expression of, you know, just loyalty, but really wanting to improve it and make it so that it's fair for everyone who's here.